Hey everyone, this is Timothy Prevo, and it's 4:30 in the morning, and for whatever reason, my sleep-deprived brain was like, "Hey, make a video." I mean, what else is there to do? Um, but I thought I'd talk about um, depression a little bit, and or the Depresh as borrowed from one of my favorite comedians, uh, and Gary Goldman. And we we all are just like, this is how I feel. We contribute lack of energy or fatigue to a multitude of things, but in reality, that can actually be depression. And I'm just going to talk real quick about depression, what I call the crash, and the Great Depression, or ongoing clinical depression, and won't take up much of your time. So depression, in my opinion, can be seen from a few different angles, and you see a few different contributing factors. One of those is fatigue, lack of energy, lack of enjoyment in things, and either sleeping too much or sleeping too little. This dude right here, sleeping too little. And what you can do is with depression, you is different from clinical depression because you can get on medicine, you can do therapy, and that basically can solve a lot of it. And then if that doesn't do it, that may get worse and worse, and where you have the crash, which is a snowball effect where things kind of get worse and worse, and they don't get better. You just kind of get in the same rut routine, and you can have moments of joy still. You can have moments of pleasure, but they're kind of few and far between. And this snowball effect can lead to the Great Depression, which in my mind is where you're on medication, you're doing you're doing you're doing therapy, basically you're basically meeting the minimal requirements for surviving each day. Maybe your hygiene is less than perfect. You may not even be able to get yourself to take a shower every day. You may not be able to do some basic chores around the house. Just the most basic things require a lot of energy for you, and you have to make yourself do them as opposed to them just being part of your day. And I know for me, a lot of it's basically been an ongoing um, battle with these types of things. I'm on my medication. I'm seeing my therapist, and yet with COVID and everything, I think a lot of people are dealing with this, with depression, and even though so many people stare at their screens so much of the time anyway, it feels a lot different when you don't have any other choice in the matter. And I feel like we've taken for granted a lot of relationships and personal connections with people, and we have not appreciated the ability to interact face to face with people. I feel like uh, that's a big factor in in depression that's probably um, going around right now. And for me, depression has been, you know, a lifelong battle. And um, some of you know the story, some of you, but I got out of psychiatric hospital after treatment, and I was on cloud nine. I was feeling the best I've ever felt, and I got to go to two weddings, two friends of mine, and meant the world. I was ready to be out in the world, and I had the energy to do it. And then COVID hit, and it kind of just was a slap in the face. And I've slowly had kind of a downturn where I'm at that level of the steady depression. Now, what you want to look out for is when you're keeping your head above water, you want to look out for the things that are signs of you slowly drowning, which is suicidal ideation. You're having thoughts of suicide, or you're just you're thinking, none of, even if it's not actual suicidal thoughts, you're thinking, what's it matter? What's anything matter? Do I matter? And you don't want to let yourself get too caught up in those philosophical thoughts, because you make your own world, you decide what matters, and it can be tough to survive every day. I realized that when depression is untreated, when you're not getting the correct care, and you're not sleeping, and it can be tough to keep your head above water at these times. I can only speak for myself for that, but if this is a constant from someone in your life, hey, no, I'm doing all right. How about you? No, what's going on with you? Uh, nah, everything was all right today. I just did some work around the house. Uh, I I played some video games, and I, had some fun, cleaning and walking my dog and stuff like that, and cut. And it's very easy to, at least for me, to go in and out of this character of, pretending that things are okay, and putting up a good front, so people don't worry. So thing, and partly for me to, you know, just, fake it until you make it. It's not real for everything. But it can help a little bit with daily interactions and so forth. So to sum up, depression versus fall versus Great Depression. You have depression, you have some you have fatigue, you may be sleeping too much, you may be maybe not being able to sleep enough, you may have anxiety about things, but it's correct, but it may be able to be corrected by a therapist. It may be able to be corrected and medication. Versus the fall, where that starts to snowball, and you find it harder and harder to make yourself get out of bed, even if you haven't slept, or you're sleeping most of the day, but you're still exhausted and tired when you get up. Versus the Great Depresh, which is where you're just constantly, for me, it's a numbness, whereas it used to be an active, just like deep sadness before the medication, and where you feel like you may drown day to day, and you're barely surviving each day, and that's when you really have to try at least partially let people in, even if you have a lot of armor built up, which I do, evidently. So my therapist tells me, and you have to at least kind of keep those who love you kind of up to date on your basic feeling and how you're doing, because you don't want it to go deeper than that, where you're actively drowning and you don't know what to do, and you just feel completely lost, lonely, and you don't know why you're here, and can lead to suicidal ideation, can lead to terrible thoughts about yourself, and some people have thoughts on why am I here, why I don't deserve to live, and personally, for me, it always got to philosophical thoughts like, and escaping the pain, like I can't bear this pain any longer, I've dealt with it too much. And my mom recently told me that my first suicide attempt was actually at 8, and I didn't know back then and so I tried to put myself in the bathtub with cold water, thinking that would, but the sad part is I was telling my mom, like, I can't deal with this pain anymore, I can't, and that was at 8 years old, so you can imagine how that builds from there, and so I just wanted to make this video because there's all else to do, and maybe someone will watch it and get something from it. Maybe not, but I mean, what do I care? Honestly, right now I can't say I do. But some will take up some time, so I just want to know when someone. Last thing I'll note is you can tell kind of a difference between my speaking on this one and the speaking from my last one, smiling more, and it's just more genuine, and there's a bit monotone in my voice, and you might notice that in some people who don't have, it's harder to do inflection when you feel numb, when you're not really feeling that energy. So if anyone gets anything from this, I'm glad. If not, it was 15 minutes for me, to just throw away. So, appreciate it.